And welcome to the final installment on working with drawing proportionate human figures. Our final project, drawing project that is going to include a proportionately drawn mannequin, 7 heads tall, along with some shading. So at this point, I would like for you to please have a couple materials handy. Please have a shading stump that you can get from your teacher. Please have a pencil with an eraser. Please have a mannequin and a piece of paper. What you're going to do is position your mannequin to a place where you feel comfortable drawing your mannequin. Okay, if you wish to begin by putting those 7 spaces, that is completely up to you, and that is fine. And then start to construct the mannequin by looking at it, looking at the shapes, looking and seeing how they are constructed, how they're put together. So for example, I can see this part of the neck as it swings around and it attaches to the neck. I can see the shoulders are a bit of a curved line. And then you're going to work your way down. Please do not ignore the proportions that you know are there. So for example, you know that halfway down has to be the bottom of the pelvis. You know that all the way at the bottom you have to have your feet. Okay, so we can't ignore certain things just because you're drawing from scratch. Okay, and then you're going to start building it. I would encourage you to please have a pencil with an eraser, because as you redraw and make observations, there may be things that you want to erase. So I've gone ahead and made my drawing, and I gotta tell you, this took some time. Okay, yes, I've been drawing a long time, but I would say, boy, about 15 minutes at least is what I needed to do an accurate representation of what I was looking at. Okay, and then the next step is we're going to start to add shading. We do this to make it look a little bit more realistic. Now we've talked about this before, that just an outline of something is fine, but it looks more flat, like a cartoon drawing. When you start to add shadows and highlights, things appear more realistic and lifelike, because rounded objects in the real world have shadows and highlights. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to be making some observations. Right away, I see that this part of my mannequin is lighter than this part. So I'm going to go ahead and go in with my pencil, and I'm going to lightly shade in the part that I want to be a little bit darker. Now, I'm using pretty light strokes with my pencil. My pencil is not straight up and down. I'm barely dancing that pencil across the page. So I'm gently adding shadows. I can always go in and darken them if I need to. And in fact, I might want to for some effect. Right here on the inside of the thigh, I see that there's more shadow than the top part of the thigh. And then finally, when we're all done adding the shadows and the highlights, remember, you can use the back end, the eraser part, to brighten things up. So after you are all done, your next step is to take this from a rough sketch to a finished smooth work. And that's where your shading stump is going to come in. The shading stump is just a rolled up piece of paper, and it's going to work to push the pencil around your paper. It's going to eliminate those individual strokes. It's going to create softer shadows. And eventually, once your shading stump gets a little dirty, then you can actually just use it to shade with too. So like down here, I don't have any pencil marks, but I can see I need a shadow. So I could go in with my dirty shading stump and start to add in a shadow. Here, I think this is going to be a great place to show you a highlight. I'm blending, and it got a little dark. So what I can do is take my eraser and add a bit of a highlight. I also can go in and clean up any areas where I'm outside of my lines. And finally, before you turn this in, you're going to come down here and you're going to sign your name. Let's put in a year too. And then you can take that to your teacher. You'll know you'll have it. You'll know you have it when it is fully shaded, when it is softly blended using the shading stump, when you have highlights, and when you have created a cleanly drawn, so not scratchy marks, cleanly drawn, proportionate mannequin. That is how you're going to show your understanding of proportionate drawing. So here I am completed and fully shaded. I would take this to my teacher, at which time my teacher would trim and put onto a piece of black matting and make it look fabulous. Good job showing that you understand proportionate human bodies.